Hey, what's up guys? It's the weekend again after another fun 4 days of work, and so we're back at it. Just kind of bringing you an update, and then maybe what I end up accomplishing today. Not too sure, but figured I'd get a vlog out. So during the week, I finally had enough of my handle fixture, so we can. End of my nose is really itchy. So the original handle fixture, I'm just going to put you guys on this extremely dirty table that I need to clean. Oh man. So this is the original handle fixture. It worked okay, I will say that. It made handles, obviously. So you would bolt it on the back side with 4 dowel pins to a bottom plate, and the bottom plate sat in one of the Kurt vices. And yeah, so you'd have raw stock here with a dowel pin to locate it, and then you would fasten through the 2 holes that were on the stock there, and then yeah, get roughed out, and yeah, and then flipped over here, you'd have holes in the back side to attach to the back of the handles through these holes. That is shown right here. These little holes right here where my finger's pointing, you don't see those. They're literally just for like doing that, so you'd have access to the whole backside. So it worked okay. The only problem is if you wanted to do a backside handle or the top side of a handle, you'd have to take the whole pallet off, and if you had blades here, it'd mess it up. That would mess your offset up a couple thou. So yeah, it was just it was good prototype, but garbage at the end of the day. Yeah, and yeah, it started to get unflat too. Like it started to become kind of unlevel, so that was kind of a annoying thing. So what I did during the week is I designed a new fixture, and this is out of a piece of 7075, so a little bit harder than 6061. Yeah, basically it's a 12-inch piece as opposed to the other one, which is way shorter. And the way this one's going to work is, I'll show you guys really quick. But you have these clamps, so you got, let's see, this is the mid clamp, so it clamps both. So that goes there. This is the forward clamp, and then this is the rear clamp. So you put 2 pieces of raw stock right here, bottom handle up one, top handle up one, put them both here. There's a locating hole here and a locating hole here, well 2 here. That way you just make sure the stock is centered every time. It doesn't need to be precise, that's why I just use bolts. So what you do, you face the raw material down, you put the 2 holes into it if it's the top, that gets bolted here. Then it gets bolted with a clamp, and you can remove these 2, and same thing, only one here, but it gets shouldered against this flat on the clamp. I think, I don't know, I haven't tried it yet. And then that'll handle just doing the backside, and nice and easy. Then for this part, we got op 2. The way this is going to work, and I had to machine these clamps this morning, but so you got this piece with 5 dowel pins. Don't know if it's going to last forever using 5, but, and they basically line up. Let me see if I can, I think this is the front one. So I haven't engraved them, so that's kind of why. Nope, must be the back. Yeah, see, I gotta kind of engrave the orientation they go. This way maybe? Oh yeah, there you go. So that sits down there. Dowel pins, nice and flat. And I'm about to punch some holes through here, and that way you can reach the back side of the blade. And the nice thing is, let's say you're only doing 1, you can then take this one set off and leave it, and then you can do this set. You don't have to take the fixture off or apart and lose your like offsets to actually do work on blades. So this should make my life a lot easier. Oh, and another thing is the other fixture. I couldn't actually cut 2 pieces of raw stock into the bottom side, they didn't fit on the same fixture, so that was a poor foresight on my part. But yeah, this one 100% should be able to do 2 bottoms, 2 tops, which means every time that I open the door, I should have 2 done handles. Should. So yeah, this is going to make life way easier, because when I go to work, I'll be able to turn this thing on in the morning or at night and let it run all day, and then come home and I'll have done handles. And yeah, so I gotta basically punch out the reason there's locating holes that go in here as opposed to pins or anything, and they're actually little islands, so we had to face this down and make these little islands, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit. That's why there's a lip on here, and that way, the reason I decided to do that and not do it at the same time doing these holes is because that means it'll be like set to the fixture, as opposed to like, because this is 100% parallel to the spindle now, or to the y-axis, because I dialed it in, and that way if I cut the fixture while it's mounted, dowel pinned to this thing, it's going to be as accurate as possible, as opposed to doing another setup and then bringing it over. So I just wanted everything to be kind of copacetic like that, I guess you could say. So yeah, let's start working on that. Okay, so got our back plate mounted. The front plate can't be mounted at the same time because of that lip. I left like a hat on it from the other up, but so we'll do this part. I'll take this one off and then we'll put the front plate on. This is not flat, and I have a feeling it has to do with my parallels that were in the Kurt vices. Those parallels are absolutely effed. They have marks in them, so I'm assuming they weren't very flat. So this has got like 3 thousandths over the short distance of not flatness, like it's a rise on this side. But what I'm hoping is the pallet is mostly flat, and again, it was machined in the vices, so I have a feeling it has something to do with it. It's got a 1 thou rise across the center of it, which is definitely also not good, but it'll be like fixable with the probe basically and some offsets, so I'm not too worried as long as it's mostly flat, sort of. So I'm going to basically use the center of the pallet and this top height as our G54, and then we're going to cut this using that. The height is dead nuts on 1.8 inches. That's the most, like, literally with mics it read that, so yeah, that's the most accurate dimension on this entire thing. So we're going to cut this one, we'll take it off, then we'll put the front one on, and we'll cut with the exact same offset, and that way we know it's cut to the pallet basically. And yeah, so let's do that. Alright, here's op 1, adaptive. So we adapted around. Here are those little nubs I was telling you about, the handles sit on. So now we're going to parallel the surface, try to get it nice and smooth and flat, but sometimes it doesn't work that good. And then we'll do the dowel pin hole and clean up. We'll do bores to clean these up precisely, and then chamfer, and we should be good. Okay, not too bad. It's nice and smooth, so that was really the main goal. And yeah, it's smooth. But yeah, now we're going to bore these around and chamfer and do some drilling. Looks like we came really close to hitting our 1/2 inch mark. Where there's 5, and you can kind of see it's basically like 3/10. So yeah, perfect. Alright, so this is pretty awesome. So here's what this, got the pins there, and that's how it'll sit. Absolutely no play on it, which is absolutely fantastic. Plus with the dowel pin locating, should make the knife repeatable, like quite a few hundred of them repeatable. Or, well, maybe not 100 of them, but you know. And now it's stuck on there. Wow, it works so good. Hello? No, not like this. He wasn't ready. Come on! Alright, got the dowel pin installed. Even did some engraving that says front in Comic Sans, because of course. And then obviously it says top handle op 2. The engraving's awesome. It's just barely engraved. You can barely feel it if you rub your hand over it, so we know that it's not protruding over the surface. So yeah, this is obviously the handle I've been running for the last couple weeks. And yeah, fits on here, so that's good. And cool. Yeah, so we got a dowel pin. What I'll actually end up doing is I'm not going to use the dowel pin in the maybe the actual setup. I just I only need it if I'm going to relocate the blade back onto the fixture. But what I really wanted the dowel pin hole for was to be able to take the probe and sit it down in there and set the work offset to the dowel pin hole. And I think that'll work pretty good. So time to work on the next block, and then we should be able to test some handles, or run some handles. Alright, I got the second one loaded. This is that top pad I was talking about. That I should have done a close adaptive and just left some stock to leave, but yeah, so that's going to make quite the noise when we cut it, but anyways, live and learn. Alright, we're going to see how this goes. I'm going to have to do a contour around, but it might get a little rough. Not bad, I just saw this. There's a dowel pin right in our bath. That would have been bad for the endmill. Better just take all of them out, you never know. So I put the lead-in radius really far, and that was pretty close. Not a lot of clearance there, so yeah. Stuff to look out for. Okay, here's where we're at. So, fixture, beautiful. Now, I cut a bunch of stock, and we gotta face this bad boy down. Let's see, the place in the machine that it is sitting is kind of very far to the left of the X travel. So, I'm just seeing if my face mill is actually going to be able to cut the whole thing. And I won't be able to do, usually I like to extend the tool path all the way until it clears, like so it's not hovering over the part, but we don't, this is as far over as I can go, so we're going to just have it's going to cut, and then it's going to extend, basically start leaving the part right here, and I'm hoping that's enough, basically X travel room to be able to accomplish this. I really don't want to have to move this system over, because I'm worried about clearance issues with the spindle nose here and kind of this distance. I think honestly it'll be okay, but I'd rather just avoid it if I can. Yes, I can take the vise off, but if I want to do this and then move straight over to doing handles, then that's kind of inconvenient, if you will. So yeah, we're just working through it, but I need to make some, obviously, cut parts to test the fixture, so that's what we're doing. Okay, I may have encountered a problem, but it may be okay. So here's the drill, here's the vise, and we have quite a big vise lip on here. And the hole is very close. In fact, it's so close that when I go to contour out the hole bigger, the clearance is actually between those chamfers right here. Like, it's kind of hard to explain, but I'm trying not to hit those chamfers. So yeah, this might become a self-clearancing vise in a second, but we're about to find out. We will definitely know if that drill bit hits it, because it will make a noise. Oh, I never checked the other hole. Just kind of get you guys in here without dripping all over the camera. Oh, dripped on the camera. I don't think this camera likes water. Okay, well, that worked. Now we're going to try our contour, which is really the biggest problem, or part of it. I have a really fast plunge speed on this, so it may just crash into the jaws. It's okay, this end mill's kind of worn out anyways. Okay, well, nothing catastrophic, so that's a good sign. Yeah, it looks like we didn't hit them. Kind of hard to tell in the viewfinder, but... well, that's just not going to do, is it? Alright, we're going to try this again. I don't think it cut all the way. A little bit slower on the finish feed rate. Okay, that looks like a success. I had to switch to a flat square end mill because the 5 thou that I was going down was too much for the radius end mill to cut the bottom. So yeah, I didn't want to use that end mill because it's a finishing end mill, it's a 6 flute, but I guess that's the only way to get this to work. So here's one of the hold down bolts. Perfection. Alright, now to do the top side. Cool, so there's the first part set up. Mid clamp's not installed yet because it's a double clamp, so I gotta do this top piece. This is for the top. I just said that. Yeah, alright, let's do this, and then we'll have the 2 loaded, and then we'll be able to start walking through the tool paths. Alright, cool. This one's only got the 1 hole. 1 holio. Might have to add one in the future, I'm not too sure, but looks like success. We haven't hit the vice jaws. I'm glad I got lucky and I picked the correct hole distance. So yeah, let me load that up on there and then we'll be good to try some, yeah. Alright boys, here we go. Start of this thing. And it begins. Well, that's not correct at all, is it? Okay, so obviously I had reset G54 to the vise. And yeah, so now G55, that's the palette, like master offset. So we're just going to use that first, and then I'll cut a dowel pin hole later, and then we'll start using that for individual setups or operations or parts. Yeah. All right, here goes. Would help to select the correct program. That looks better. Make sure our distance to go is good. Okay. And we're going. So, pretty funny, I'm sitting here wondering why it's moving and not cutting. Well, I set Z to the top here thinking that was the bottom of the fixture, and that's actually where a piece of stock is. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. So, yeah, let me fix that. Alright, looks like a success. Moving on. Alright, well, this is it. This is goodbye for both of us. Well, just the end of this video anyways. I'm running one of those long slots in the back with a 1/32 end mill, so it takes a really long time. And yeah, I figured there's really nothing else to add, but yeah, that's the new fixture. It's going to take me like a couple days to make sure that I can run through the whole thing with all 4 like parts without it crashing. It's going to take a while. And the next fixture I'm going to do is the blade fixture. Definitely need to make a new blade fixture. I'd like to be able to do 2 blades at a time. And yeah, the next big thing I need to work on is actually the lock bar insert is not up to my liking, and I'd like to make it at a round bar. because it's easier to buy stainless round bar than it is square round bar, and it's cheaper that way too. So yeah, that'll be on the 4th axis. That'll be another cool 4th axis part thing. Should be easier than the clip though. And that's about it. So like I said, if you, I think I said this, if you like this stuff, please sub, and catch you on the next one. Thanks.